Where there is light, there is life. The sun has given us everything, but now is entering its final chapter. The death of the sun is pushing life as we know it to the brink of extinction. All things must end, but hopefully you manage to survive just a little longer. The situation is dire, but as long as humanity has hope, there is a chance. This is Soul, Last Days of a Star. Each player in Soul is leading a group of people away from the imminent death of the solar system. You've loaded as many people as you can onto an ark hoping to generate enough momentum to escape the pull of your dying home. The only problem is, generating momentum requires harvesting from the sun, which pushes it closer and closer towards a supernova. With multiple players harvesting from the same sun, you can imagine that puts more than a little pressure on you to work quickly. Players place their arcs on the momentum track, which encircles the instability spiral. When the stability of the sun reaches 0, it explodes, and whoever is furthest along the momentum track will have the best chance of escaping the blast and is the winner of the game. Everyone begins the game with their motherships orbiting the sun. Your player board shows your movement capacity and holds sundiver ships ready to launch from your mothership. You'll perform one action and move your mothership, signaling the end of your turn. Play continues in this way until the sun is no more. There are 3 actions to choose from on your turn. You can move, convert, or activate. The movement track on your player board tells you how many movement points you have, and for each movement point, you can either launch a sundiver from your mothership or move an already deployed sundiver on the map. Sundivers can move to adjacent spaces, but can only cross the thick black lines to move closer to the sun if there is a solar gate. Once the sundiver reaches inner orbit, you can hurl them into the sun. This vaporizes the sundiver and removes it from the game, but you'll be able to capture the shockwave as momentum for your arc. You'll also draw a card from the Instability deck for each sundiver sacrificed. If you drew a solar flare card, you'll gain more momentum and lower the stability marker, bringing the sun one step closer to blowing up. The next action you can do is convert. If your sundivers are laid out in specific patterns at the start of your turn, you can convert them into structures. 2 sundivers stacked like this will convert into a solar gate, which allows traversal to the inner orbits. Sundivers with a gap between them can be converted into an energy node, which harvests energy from the sun. 2 sundivers adjacent to one another will create a sundiver foundry, where you can spend energy to construct more sundivers. Finally, if you stack 3 sundivers, you can convert them into a transmit tower, where you can transmit energy back to your arc to be turned into momentum. Every structure you create on a new orbit layer will increase your movement by 1. And if you construct a structure in the inner orbits, you will draw cards from the Instability deck. In addition to acting as the game timer, the Instability deck is your source for game-breaking powers. Each card, when utilized, will allow you to bend the game in your favor. The Ceremony card, for example, will grant you energy every time you launch a sundiver, whereas the Fuel card lets you convert energy into movement points. Since the setup of instability effects is randomized each game, Soul has a lot of variety packed right into the box, and winning and losing is often decided by who leveraged the cards the best. But even though there's a strong incentive to study the initial layout of instability cards at the start of the game, you'll still need to be able to adapt to the shifting layout of the board as your mothership orbits about the sun. The final action is activation. If you have a sundiver in the same space as a structure, you can activate it and reap the rewards. The closer to the sun the structure is, the more powerful the effect of the structure, and you'll draw instability cards as well. The energy node, for example, grants you 1 energy in the outermost orbit, but grants you up to 8 energy in the inner orbit. You can use anyone's structures, but the owner will also gain a benefit, although to a lesser degree. If you fly through someone else's solar gate, they receive an energy. If you build sundivers at someone else's foundry, they can build some too. A delicate dance emerges as you position your structures around the board in the hopes that other players feed you the opportunities to use them. With only 3 actions that play out in expedited fashion, Soul moves with the brisk pace usually only found in abstract games, but everything is so deeply rooted in the game's premise that it never feels mechanical. The slow drift of gravitational orbit forces players into each other's spaces, and cutting people off or setting them back isn't motivated by spite, it's the natural outflow of people desperate for survival. Pulling momentum for the sun is the only means of hope for you and your people, but it also accelerates the rate at which the solar system meets its demise. It's the tragedy of the commons in action. With its exceptional visual design and smart, tense gameplay, Soul has captured my attention like no other game in the recent past. I appreciate its gripping science fiction setup and its ability to highlight it with minimal fluff in the way of flavor text or persnickety rules. It's as easy to play and learn as it is intelligent, something not too many games can claim.